I'm back at it. It's the Bass Critic, Dark Corner Diaries, where we scour the globe for the known and unknown. Things that we might not normally know about if we wasn't looking around. And if you're a witty act just like I am, I hope you enjoy these videos. Man, thank you for coming. You could have spent your time anywhere with anyone, but you decided to spend your time here with me. And for that, I'm truly appreciative. Come on in. Sit down, look around, comment, like, subscribe. I'm not going to ask you because if you really fuck with me, you'll do it anyway. You know what I'm talking about? Let's get into these videos and see what's going on. This is another one of my favorite content creators. It's my guy from Area 52. He's in the skill. Let's see what he's talking about. They always bring good information and insight.
Store, and she sees two people, man and woman. They're gorgeous by all physical standards, and they're wearing what she describes as strange clothes. That's made of material that she couldn't readily identify, but it was beautiful and flowy, and sort of they're just standing there, and she's staring at them, and then she hears in her mind the female go, "She can see us," and then the man go, "Don't be silly."
This is just like that Ingo Swann story.
This is exactly like the Ingo Swann story. It's exactly like the story that Richard Dolan told me about the girl at church. It's the story of the guy that told me when he was in the hardware store getting the copper rod with the two tall 6'9" women twins looking at him. I told you this story?
I think so.
Yeah.
Tell it again, though.
Where he's in the hardware store and he's picking up a 8-foot copper rod for some grounding issues that he's fixing at his house. And all of a sudden, he's in North Carolina. It's middle of summer, so it's like blaring 95 degrees, humid heat. And these two 6'9" gorgeous women with long red hair who are dressed identically, who look identical, and they're both wearing sort of tucked in flannel shirts into jeans, mind you, summer heat wave.
Yeah.
And they're walking in lockstep with these giant strides towards him. Now, looking at this, your first thought, and this is what he says, he's like, "You're looking for the cameras." You're like, "Where are the cameras? Like, where are the hidden cameras? This is obviously a prank show."
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing that goes through your mind. And the second thing that goes through his mind is, why isn't anyone else looking at these two?
Yeah.
Because it's such a freaking sight to behold, these alien basketball players lunging up the aisle. And so he's kind of a little bit freaked out, kind of enamored by what he's seeing. He ends up eventually going into the line of the cashier, and now he's in this sort of checkout line with all these impulse buy section items. And behind him, stand these two tall women, one of them staring directly at him intensely as he looks over at her, and the other one just kind of blankly staring forward. They have nothing in their hands, and they're waiting at the checkout. She's like, okay. He grabs a flashlight at the impulse buy section, and looks at it. So, okay, I'll buy this. The one behind him reaches awkwardly around him, like so weird, and grabs the same item and just holds it. And he's like, okay. The lady at the cash says, okay, next. And he's like, finally, someone else has to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Perfect. After you. They don't acknowledge him. They don't say thank you. They don't look at him. They just walk by. The transaction lasts 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then they start walking out the door. No bags, no receipt, no credit card was used, no money, nothing. They just kind of walk out. So he rushes up to the cashier and goes, that was weird.
Yeah.
And she goes, what? And he looks over, and they're about 30 feet away at this point. One of them stops, rears her head, and in his words, she was fucking pissed, and looks at him and starts lunging towards him, clears about half the 30 feet in 3 strides. And at which point he's frozen in terror.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's happening. And he hears in his head this screaming female voice go, stop.
Yeah.
And she stops. What he perceived is that was the other one. And she turns around, walks up to the other one, and in lockstep, they walk out of the store. He grabs the items. He goes, I shoplifted that day. I've never stolen anything in my life. And no one stopped me. He's like, I just grabbed the pole, grabbed the flashlight, ran out the door to see if I can spot them. And they were gone. Now, since then, I've thought, did it have something to do with the copper rod?
Yeah, right.
Is the copper
Yeah.
rod some type of like I can see you now,
Yeah.
like a device? But you know, all jokes aside, those stories are very, very prominent.
Yep.
They're one of the high strangeness stories that you hear, aside from meeting the Greys, reptilians, shape shifting, phase shifting, whatever. You hear these stories of them walking among us.
Another similar story to that effect is
Well, before you go on, there's many times I've been running across social media, and there people talk about encounters and those creatures walking among us, like aliens walking among us. I truly believe they are. I believe it's more prevalent than we really think it is. I think they've been here long before we have, and I think that there are more of them around here than we think. I just think that maybe sometimes we can't see them. Maybe they got some kind of device, or maybe it's I don't know. But I for sure think that they're walking among.
believe I also heard from Dolan for the first time. I think it might be in the Alien Agendas book, but it might be Fazio Cardano, and it was in this sort of
Yes.
Renaissance era.
It's like 500 years ago.
And these three like guys who look like Greek sages walked into his, I don't remember where it was, if it was his house or where they were, but these guys who were dressed in like beautiful flowing Greek robes sat down in front of him and had a conversation with him. And I can't remember
They said they were from the future or something.
yeah, they were, I think they said that they were adepts of a certain school and they all had their own schools. And, they're like these Plato, Pythagoras, like sage guys. But they were saying all sorts of things to him that were evocative of esoteric, and even
They were asking him about it, about his belief in God.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were all very interested in that.
Yeah, and I think they're talking about all sorts of.
And then when they were
astral
asked about God, they're like, "We can't talk about that" or something. There was like
this
something
might be
there.
worth looking up because it's a really interesting story. But I don't know if I could find it quickly. Should we?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I think we could find it. I think, and I think it might not be Cardano, but his son or something.
yeah. I think Cardano's the last name. If I
Yeah. Let's see if you can find it first. Got it.
Girolamo Cardano.
15th century Italian physician and lawyer Fazio Cardano was a friend of Leonardo da Vinci and a noted occultist. Rumors spread that he was in communication with a demon, a story Cardano spread himself.
Oh yeah, this is a separate story.
This is a separate story.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because I think it's supposed to be like his daimon. I think it's like supposed to be like he was in touch with his daimon.
So what's a daimon for people listening?
Oh man, so this is one of my favorite esoteric rabbit holes that I don't want to derail this
Anthony
story.
Peake is a big fan of the daimon too.
And his take on it is very related, but iterative off of the main idea. So if you go back not just to the Greek world, but basically the entire Mediterranean and probably beyond, and also this existed, there is an Egyptian version of this idea as well. It's either sometimes called the divine double, like there's a book called The Divine Double or Our Divine Double, which is written about this topic. But the basic idea is that every human soul has a counterpart sort of spirit called the daimon, basically. And it's not demon in the common, understanding now. It's daimon meaning like a spiritual being, essentially. And this, one of the most famous places this stems from is a story at the end of Plato's Republic called the Myth of Ur. Ur is this warrior who is about to be burned on the funeral pyre because he just appears to be a dead body. And then he wakes up fully alive, has full memories of the afterlife and how you basically reincarnate and you go through all these various steps. But at one step, just before you incarnate, you go in front of the three fates, and the three fates are like these women who are always portrayed as knitting, and they're essentially like knitting together the tapestry of fate, right? And what they do is they don't let you pick whatever you want for your next life. They present you with a list of lots, like imagine like a lot, like of property or whatever. But they present you these lots, basically, like you can choose from these for your next life based on who you are, what you've done, your path so far. You choose that, and it locks you into this fate, basically. And then as you're reincarnating, you completely get your memory wiped as you're coming.
Man, that's so crazy. But I've done heard that before on other things, like when they was talking about like when we die. I think it was on the Wi-Fi's, like when we supposed to be going. They said don't go to the light because the moon is have a way of harnessing our souls and then sending us back here to spend time on this planet because this planet is a prison planet. But anyway, let's go on. See what he said.
back down to Earth. You're proceeding through the celestial spheres. You go through these various bands. One of them is called Lethe. Lethe wipes your mind, so you don't remember whatever you chose, and this is by design. But you have the daimon with you who does know what you chose, so you can extrapolate all of these different things from this.
I mean, Journey of Souls kind of
Yeah.
falls exactly
I know.
in this same path.
I know. Yeah. So one of my favorite books also to continue this rabbit hole is called Soul's Code. It's written by another psychologist who's very Jung influenced named James Hillman. James Hillman comes up with his own archetypal psychology, but it's still very Jungian in a lot of ways with some important differences. But anyway, his most famous book is called Soul's Code, and it's all about how important this idea of the personal daimon is from a personal kind of sense-making sort of POV. And he gives all these biographical examples of people who just struggled their whole life in school and trying to play all these different social roles because they literally came into this life like, you're supposed to be a singer, you're supposed to be a ballet dancer, you're supposed to be an accountant. And at every turn, when life tries to force them out of that box, it's like everything is going wrong. They're having all these mental problems. They're having, their life is falling apart. And it's all because they're basically fighting their daimon. Like their daimon is like, no, this is what you are. And if you try to fight against what you are instead of discover what you are, you're going to have all kinds of problems. So it's really interesting from like a personal sense-making POV, particularly when you're traveling a weird life path, right? Like I think it's true for everyone, but for you, for me, people who are creative and feel like, I don't know why, but I just got to do this thing. I don't know why I want to start a podcast. I just want to start a podcast. And then you just, every time you...
It's like a muse.
It's very much like the muse. Yeah, it's very much like the muse in that the muse inspires, but the daimon is sort of the...
guide.
Yeah, like the taskmaster or the one that's trying to keep you on track, but it's very subtle. And in a lot of these, bringing it back to Cardano, if you look into a lot of these Western esoteric traditions, one of the main things they're trying to get you to do is get an open dialogue going with your daimon. And if you can actually get the daimon to like manifest in front of you, that is considered to be like a major, major moment, and you are elevated very highly on your path after that point.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's one of those things I've been...
What is the daimon? Is the daimon in any lore or stories, is the manifestation of the daimon like a concise image, or is it just something you make up?
See, that's one of those things that I personally would love to know the answer to, because I think I really struggle to believe it would appear to you like an anthropomorphic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I've also told you that one story about my
your trip.
Yeah, my
with the wizard.
Yeah, like my one experience where I'm like, I think that was really an entity. I think I really encountered an entity that wasn't just a mental. Trip. Yeah. That could have been the daimon. It had that kind of
energy.
Yeah, like you're on the right path, buddy. Just keep doing your thing. Good job. You need anything else? Okay, bye.
They always seem so playful.
In my case, in this particular scenario, yes. I had gone through a lot of things that were not playful to get to that point.
It's like shitting and pissing and farting and puking.
Yeah. For people that...
complete purging of all your bodily fluids.
Yeah, whenever I hear people tell, oh, I had such a beautiful Aya experience. I was just, Mother Ayahuasca was holding. It was nothing like that for me, dude. It was so brutal. It felt
Mother Ayahuasca had her fist down your throat.
Yeah. It felt incredibly demonic, man, for a lot.
Really?
Yes. Like not daimonic, but demonic. The whole, I would say 80% of the experience was just deep, dysphoric, dis-ease. What am I doing? I've like opened myself up spiritually to all of these terrible lower astral forces, and I like...
It is crazy the type of stuff that be going on out there that we don't even know about. The Daimon. It's my first time hearing about it. I don't know. Have you heard about it before? If you have, let me know in the comments. But it is crazy. Daimon sounds like demon. Daimon, spiritual, God. Okay. Let's see what this end up at.
It was a tormenting experience.
You're surrounded by screaming people.
Yes, and people who are working through trauma and almost feeling embarrassed because I'm just there as like, I'm a seeker. I don't know. I just want to find my path. And then you're hearing these stories of people who had I won't even like try to make a joke version of it because it's genuinely like some of the worst trauma you've ever heard about in your life. And they're trying to work on that. And you're sitting there in the share being like, yeah, I just, I'm here seeking. I want to get answers. So maybe there's so much negativity being discharged in the room that there's an overwhelming aura of negativity that's slowly being dispelled or purified or something. But yeah, it took me 3 full nights of drinking to break through to that what just felt like this unbelievably placid, beautiful, astral kind of POV where there was this entity there that was just this perfect embodiment of the wise man. Like you instantly know, like this is a super highly, highly elevated intelligence that I'm dealing with. And it's not the kind of, you're going to be okay, buddy, like that your friend would give you. It's a knowing kind of advice or a knowing kind of bestowal of information that this thing was giving me. And when I say,
Okay. No, but Dad, I just wanted to go through. He's going to continue on with it, but I just wanted to see, man, there are things out there that we don't know about. There are things walking among us. There's spirituality to your soul. Of course, we all know we got a spirit, but there are people that have dealt with spirit, their own spirit in different ways. The aliens out there that walking among us, man. That is something right there. Can you swallow that? You know what I'm talking about? Pause. Didn't mean it like that, but can you digest it? You know what I mean? But anyway, again, thank you for spending your time with me. You could have spent your time with anyone else, but you decided to spend your time with me, and for that, I'm truly appreciative. It's your boy Critique, the Mass Critic. I hope your eyes is as low as mine. I hope you enjoyed the videos. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm not going to ask you because if you fuck with me, you'll do it anyway. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, holler at you next time. I'm going to holler.